Hello and welcome to today's WholeHearted Living podcast episode with your host Deb Thorpe. And today we are talking about the concept of ease and flow. So let's dive in. So today I wanted to touch on this concept of ease and flow. I think because, on the one hand, we really align with wanting that in our lives, of wanting more ease and more flow, not feeling like we have to work so hard or that we have to be so manic and busy and stressed and all of these things as we go throughout life. For the most part, and clients that I speak with as well, they want certainly more flow. They want more peace in their life. They want to be able to feel like, flow is the word for it, right? That you feel like you can go through your day in a state of relative peace and calmness, and still be productive, still live your life, but in a way that just doesn't feel so forced and pressured and stressed. So I wanted to talk about this concept of ease and flow, and where I think it's got a bit confused as we've kind of been exposed more to these words and these concepts over the last few years. So I think the state of flow is an absolutely amazing state to be in. Now, children know this state very, very naturally. Okay, so a very healthy, securely attached child will intuitively know what they want to be doing in that moment that feels most in flow for them. You'll witness toddlers playing with one thing for a minute and then going on to the next thing and the next thing and doing that and being absorbed in that, and they will have this knowing, if you like, of what it is to be in that flow and follow that. And through various different reasons, as we grow and go through life, we tend to experience times where we become more and more disconnected from that. We put lots of rules and structure and all kinds of stuff around that flow, and then we'll link it to certain activities or times in our life. So you tend to hear this a lot with people who are creative in some way, that they will feel in that flow state when they're playing music, or when they are creating some art, or for some people it'll be when they're out running. I hear this a lot from people who surf. When they're out surfing, they feel that sense of peace and flow. And the way that you'll know what this feels like for you, because you will have experienced it in different times of your life, of what it is to be in that flow state where you feel connected. You feel connected to something greater than yourself, or you feel like there is a oneness with source, or however you want to define that, universal energy, where you just feel at one with yourself, with your environment, and there almost just feels like this energy that's flowing through you. And like I said, we tend to link it with certain activities. However, we absolutely get to craft our life around harnessing this flow and this energy. So for me, that's when I've talked before about this higher mind, this higher self, your intuition. That's what I'm referring to. is almost like this flow state that allows that those messages, those intuitive nudges, those images, those desires, whatever it is, to flow through you and for you to receive them. Okay, so no doubt you will have heard of people who have written songs or books in this flow state. Okay, where it's like the lyrics have just appeared to them, or they've sat down to write and the words have just flowed out of them. Okay, it's the flow state we tend to be in a lot when we are in play as children. So it's that, like, you lose all track of time. You like lose all sense of surroundings, and you can just get lost in the moment. So like, it's a really, really amazing state to be in, and we absolutely can draw upon and utilize those activities and those things that help us to get into that place. Okay, so the flow state is amazing. I would really encourage you to find and tap into those things that help you get into that flow state as an adult. Like I said, we're naturally there as children, so it's in you. Like, this is just reawakening a part of you. This is not something that you've now got to learn to do. It's in you. It just needs awakening. It needs a bit of time and a bit of nurturing, if you like. So my invitation is to start with something, an activity, something that helps you to get into your flow state. Now, this is going to be individual to you, so I can't tell you what that's going to be. If you're struggling to think what that is for you, go back to the activities, the things that you did as a child that you could lose yourself in. So when I think about this for me, as a child, I was always outside. Always. Any moment that I could be, I was outside. I was that kid that, would leave the house in the morning, and as long as I was back by tea time, I would be out all day. I'd be building dens. I'd be like out with my friends. Like, I was always outside, and I could lose all sense of time, and literally just that for me was where I felt most at peace, most calm. And so that's still true for me today, that for me to access my most powerful flow state, if you like, I need to be outside. I need to be in nature. It's when some of the best ideas will come to me. It's when I can feel most at peace with myself. It will be when I'm outside in nature somewhere. So go to the things that you naturally were drawn to as a child, as like the basis of discovering what some of those things will be now as an adult that will help you access your flow state. And like I invite you to do with a lot of these things on this podcast, is to be playful with it, is to experiment, is to try something new and not put judgment on it. What is it to be creative, or get some Play-Doh out, or like sponge paints out and just play? Like, not have to feel like you've got to create something at the end that needs to be this masterpiece, but you can actually just enjoy the process of the play. I now at nearly 40 have Play-Doh, I have paints, I have all of these things to access almost like that playful creative state that doesn't require me to produce anything at the end of it. I can just get lost in the process. So be playful with this. That's my invitation for you. I also want to swing this back to ease, because this is a concept that has changed for me throughout my life, depending on where I've been at personally. So I come from a very working class background. I was taught the value of hard work and working for everything that you've got. And so working hard for things is my default like narrative and position, and I always have done. Okay, so whatever business success I have had over the years, and generally whatever I've achieved, it's come as a result of hard work, because that's been my belief system. So when I started to get introduced to the concept of ease, I was like, wow, that's all I want. I just want ease in my life. But that really, really came up against my deeply embedded belief of, but you need to work hard for everything, right? You know, anything that comes easy is not worth having. You know, all of these types of beliefs, right? So I really rejected ease, and ease felt lazy to me for a long time. And I genuinely couldn't stand the thought of being lazy. Like, that was, I liken lazy to me as the, for those who have watched Back to the Future, whenever Marty McFly gets called chicken, like, he just, that's his trigger word, right? Lazy was my trigger word. Just couldn't bear the thought that anyone would think I was lazy, right? So, you know, I can smile about it now because I'm all good with it. But it was so opposing to me to think of like ease. You know, I really struggled to imagine what that even would look like in the beginning. And so we can have all of these different beliefs that will impact our experience of life. And so always having to work hard for everything that you want really counteracted what was a desire for me, that I did want some level of ease in my life. I didn't want everything to be hard work. I didn't want everything that I wanted in life to feel so hard and pressured and, yeah, just exhausting, right? But I also didn't have a concept of what ease would be either. And so I want to invite you that if that resonates for you as well, I want you to begin to explore what a concept of ease might look like. Because I just want to say for the record here, ease does not mean easy. They are two very, very different things. So, you know, for those who have listened to the second bonus episode where I talk about what it is to tap into your dreams and desires and for them to actually become reality, my life now is full of so much more ease. I know what it is to access that flow state more. I know what it is to receive intuitive ideas and take action on them, rather than like force myself to sit down for hours and hours and hours and try and dredge up things in my own brain, right, to action. That to me is ease. My life has so much more ease now. However, that's not the same as easy. Many of the things that you will be guided towards through listening to your higher self and your intuition and, you know, tapping into your dreams and desires and all of these things, it will encourage you and invite you out of your comfort zone. I talk about this a lot at the beginning of the podcast. I'll drop some links to some episodes that I talk about this particularly. It will take you to a place of discomfort. It will require you to dig deep into courage and bravery and, you know, having to get to know yourself on a whole new level, and, you know, really require you to find more and more love and compassion for yourself as you walk into this discomfort, right? So that's not easy. Okay, those uncomfortable conversations you might have to have, the actions that require you to step out of your comfort zone, it requiring you to develop new skills or learn different mindset tools or whatever it might be that you're being called to, might not be easy, but it will be the path to the greatest ease. Okay, so one example that I will use for this is for someone who wants to they want to just be fit and healthy. Okay, so maybe they want to build some muscle strength, maybe they want to become leaner, they want to lose a bit of weight, they just want to feel better in themselves. They want to feel like they get up in the morning and they've got energy, right? They don't want to feel lethargic and all of these things. And so that's a desire for them. That's a real true desire. They can feel it within themselves that they want to be this healthy person who's full of energy, that has got a body that can support them in doing all of the things that they want to do in life. Maybe they want to go on a trekking holiday that adventures across the Dolomites, for example, and they want to be physically fit enough to be able to do that and enjoy it, and that's a desire that they have. Now, you could go and consult all of the logical things that would go, okay, well, this is what you need to do. You need to do this workout in the gym, and you need to do blah, 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 blah. And that can feel, hard, like a long, hard slog to get there. Or you can feel that desire, you can see it, you can feel it, that's who you want to be, that's what you want to embody, and you can follow the guidance of your desire and your higher self that is going to get you there with the path that is the best one for you. Now, that might be going to a dance class. It might be taking your dog on some really nice long hikes on paths that you've not been on before. It might be discovering a whole new way of eating that you hadn't come across before. So you still have to take the actions. Okay, the first time that you go to a dance class, you might feel really nervous or really self-conscious, or you've got to tap into a level of courage to see that through. But then you get there and it's so much fun, and it releases so much stress and cortisol from your body that the weight just then drops off you, because it doesn't have to hang around to protect you anymore, because your body's not existing in this fight and flight survival mode, right? So what hopefully you can begin to see throughout this episode is that we absolutely get to live in a state of flow. We get to experience a level of ease in our life. That doesn't mean that it's going to be easy. And hopefully you can begin to distinguish the difference. And actually, I would challenge someone who would say that they want a bigger life or they want more in life, but actually they just want an easy life, because those two things don't go together. My word, we know enough now, don't we, in personal development, with the likes of Brené Brown talks amazingly about this, that it's the calling to a wholehearted life is not an easy one, but it's the most fulfilling. And so I just want to leave you with that. thought from today's episode, that you absolutely get to live a life that is just, it is full of peace and calm and clarity and expansion and flow and ease. Absolutely, that's possible for you. It will also challenge you. But the more that you can integrate the tools that I talk about in this podcast, the more that you can navigate your inner world and what all of this means, the easier it becomes to navigate. Because there's never going to be a point that you get to in your life where you're like, okay, well, that's it now. There's always going to be growth. There's always going to be more. There's always going to be expansion. That's a natural part of who we are, of our growth. We get better at navigating that, at not getting caught up into, our little human, like survival self, if you like, that needs to know and control. And, I talk about this in another podcast episode. So that's my invitation to you today, is I want you to hear that the life of flow and ease is absolutely possible for you, that you can integrate the flow state into your life far more by tuning into receiving that flow state, to doing the activities that encourage you to be in that flow state. Okay, they require some effort probably in the beginning, but you reap the reward from actually being in the flow state as a result of it, and everything that comes from that. And that you get to choose ease, but that's very different to easy. I'm at the stage now with my journey that it's actually easier for me to tune into my intuition and follow that guidance, even when it's uncomfortable and even when it's challenging. It's still easier for me to do that than have a whole freaking mental battle about something that keeps me stuck and locked in something that is not helpful to me. Like, it's actually easier if I just tap in and do the thing, even if that's uncomfortable, than it is to stay stuck in a cycle. So, I guess we choose our own definition of easy in that respect. I've trained myself enough now over the years to know that actually if I've got that intuitive idea of going for a walk or a run, for example, because I don't know, maybe that's what my body needs in that moment. Maybe that's what the universe is. Maybe it wants me to see something when I'm out on the run. Maybe it wants to communicate an idea to me that I'm not going to receive in any other way. I don't know, but I've got that intuitive nudge that's like, you need to go for a run. It's harder for me to stay sat on the sofa and not do it. Like, it's uncomfortable for me to sit in knowing that intuitive nudge of go for a run and like stay sitting on the sofa. It's actually, I've trained myself enough now to have such a strong follow of my intuitive self that it's uncomfortable to ignore it. So therefore, once I get that intuitive nudge, I just go and do it. It's so much easier. My physical body might not be thinking so. It might go, no, let's sit on the sofa. It's gonna, your legs are gonna ache, and this is gonna be really uncomfortable. And all of that stuff. My physical body might be have other ideas about it, but I know that that will get on board, right? So that's what I mean about playing with this, experimenting with this, that it's taken some, how would I describe it? It's taken some navigation over the years, but I've learned to train myself to be more aligned to those intuitive nudges than, the part of me that just wants to stay comfortable. And so for me now, it is easier to follow the intuitive nudges, but it wasn't always that way, So that's where I'm going to leave it for today. Hopefully, that's given you an insight on these concepts of ease and flow, how you absolutely can integrate them into your life today. Like, this gets to start for you today, and you get to choose what's easy and what's not, and define what that is. And I really, really encourage you to find a way through that supports you in living the life that you really want to live. And if you've got any questions at all about this, if you'd really love to learn more about harnessing this in your life, please do drop me an email. I'm more than happy to point you in the direction of some resources and things that can help support you even more. Okay, wishing you an amazing week, and I look forward to connecting with you very soon. Bye for now.